Tommy, that's our generation. The silhouettes get a job, huh?
I see the 57 Chevy pulling up.
Yeah.
I'm listening, and I know likey.
Well, it's too bad you're outvoted 2-1. The show is called.
I lost that one.
The show is called Job Talk 1, soon to be on every day of the weekend, soon to be on all of maybe a couple hundred radio stations across America. In the meantime, you can listen to hometownstation.com if you like the show. And KHTS AM 1220 is one of the best radio apps in the country. Go listen on this app. It's a great app. Just go to the App Store, download KHTS AM 1220. It'll pop up. And you can take us everywhere. KHTS has great shows all through the day and the weekend. A lot of really good information on KHTS. Hopefully, we're going to give you some good information today on Job Talk 1. So, guys, you want to take callers? 298-5487, 298-5487 in the 661 area code. So let's talk about some baloney, because I discovered some real baloney today. Do you know how these job reports are developed by the Labor Board? I know. Nobody knows. I bet if I lined up...
I thought they just count up all the unemployment.
No, so they're claiming unemployment right now is, let's say, around 5%. Do you know how they come up with this number? If you lined up 1,000 people, they couldn't tell you. 1,000. I'd make a bet. I'd put any bet. So here's how they do it. Since 1940, they do a survey. 2,000 plus Census Bureau workers get on the phone and call you at your home.
What?
Yes.
This is too serious.
It's baloney. They call you up and say,
Nielsen ratings.
Aaron, do you have a job? Are you out of a job? This is ridiculous. So where's the scientific facts? How do we banks, insurance companies, everybody uses labor statistics, right, Tommy?
Absolutely, and they make a lot of decisions based on that.
Oh my God.
That's Tom Cairns, everybody. He's the chairman of our little show called Job Talk 1. Aaron Moskowitz, maybe America's #1 authority. Well, you're number 2 to Tom. I'd say Tom, who is headed Homeland Security.
He's Dr. Data.
He headed Homeland Security HR.
Well, I analyzed Homeland Security.
That's true, you did.
HR.
All right, caller.
They did a good job.
All right, caller. we'll take callers. We have a caller. Identify yourself, please, caller.
How you doing? My name's Terrence, and I'm calling from Northern California.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to the show. I know you're listening to the show on hometownstation.com, so we're excited. What's your question for our experts?
Well, my question was with regard to, I've been trying to push through now for years into kind of a civil service job. I'd like to become a fireman, but I've worked in retail for years, and for whatever reason, I'm not fitting what they're looking for. So I was just trying to get some insight is how do I take my retail experience and transition that to something like civil service, to an industry like that?
All right, great question, Terrence. I'm going to give you my answer, and then we'll go around the table. But here's my answer. First of all, the retail experience means nothing. But what means something is your ability to get along with people, the fact that you're a team player. But here's what I would say quickly. That is, if you want to be a fireman, you've got to go and volunteer. You've got to find reasons where they can evaluate how hard worker you are, how smart you are. I mean, I have friends, younger friends, that went to work for the Forest Bureau. Right now, if you're in California, why don't you go and hook on with the Forest Bureau? They pay a very good hourly rate, and this is one great way to show any fire department that you got guts, you got courage, and you got smarts.
Well, thank you very much. I actually currently am actively involved in a volunteer program.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm coming up, but potentially when I get to this interview process, should I get the opportunity, I just want to be able to stick it, and stick that landing on the first shot, because these opportunities don't come by as easy or, as often. There's so many candidates out there, and it's just so competitive. And you take, let's just talk about for a quick second here about the kids who have an opportunity to do volunteer work. Some of them don't work. I'm actually a parent of 3 and a working professional. So, sometimes being able to leave for weeks and to go work for, the forestry department, it's kind of it's more of a challenge for me. So, I want to be able to take, I've still got to put food on the table, and just take my experiences here, like you said, taught the customer service aspect, but just being able to apply it. I think
It's a
that's
great
bigger
question.
thing.
So it's your
Great
lucky
question.
day. It's your lucky day. Tom Cairns is going to answer or give his answer. Tom was the head of HR, Terrence, for Homeland Security, obviously the federal government. So you're trying to get a government job. So Tommy, help Terrence out.
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's difficult, Terrence, and so one of the elements is persevering. And in the career field you're thinking to go into, there are some real things you come up against. One would be age requirements, and so the clock is ticking on things for you now. So
right.
that's one of the elements. And then another thing that comes to mind is that there are a lot of small towns and other things where you could explore the possibility of moving to that area and cash in on that volunteering that you've done in maybe a larger market. And Coach actually does mention a really good part. It's kind of seasonal work, is during fire season here in California. They do need people to go out and fight those fires, but you need to be in and around it. I think your retail service, as Coach had mentioned, you've got a lot of great things that have happened as a result of that would help you relate to individuals that may not be in the specific skill area. But the best, and actually probably one of the other areas that I'm not even thinking about myself is there could be places to go and consider working in that is in and around fire safety in some fashion that may not be being a firefighter.
Yeah, Aaron, do you have anything to contribute to Terrence's great question?
Well, Terrence may have the benefit of volunteering more because he has more years under his belt. So maybe he's developed more of a story, and he won't need as much training.
But I do a lot of business coaching, Terrence, so I'm going to give it to you straight, okay?
Sure,
Your
sure.
want to has to be bigger than your have to. You've got to take all the BS excuses that you have and other people will make for you, and you've got to toss them aside. You're just what Tom said. If you really want to become a fireman, there is a small town, there's a small fire department somewhere in the western United States that desperately needs you. That's how you get started. It's none of my business how old you are, but if you're under 27 or 28, it's not too late. So your want to has to be bigger than your have to, which means that 24 hours a day until you get onto a fire department, you're going to have to do everything you can to become a fireman. You're going to have to interview better. Your interview skills have to be great. You already have a good voice. You speak well. You sound educated. You can talk about the fact that you're a team player. You get along with people, and that you're a natural-born leader. We need leaders. The fire department needs leaders, especially the fire department.
One of the other thoughts too on the small town, and I know this from a personal friend. He was in law enforcement, and the small town that he went to, he went into law enforcement, but he also had to become a firefighter. So they had, I believe it or not,
wow.
a dual career, that he had. So and the firefighting part was the toughest physical elements for him to prepare for, but he also was a cop too.
And
so,
here's another career opportunity.
So
Why
you
don't
never know,
yeah.
what
he could
is there.
become putting out fires. Every single marriage has a fire. So you could become American family counselor. You're putting out fires full time. Great call, Terrence. Great call. Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
all right,
Terrence.
next caller up from Minneapolis, St. Paul. We lost that caller. Okay, we have a caller up from Las Vegas. They dropped off too.
Great job, soundboard.
Yeah, nice job. All right, so let's talk for a second about our job weather report. So right here in Southern California, we know that there's some real career openings. We talked about it at lunch.
Right.
In the retirement home business. Which is, you're going to wind up in a home somewhere someday, probably. Right. So there are jobs right now in retirement homes. There's some industries that are actually hiring. So not everybody wants to work in a retirement home. I get it.
What are some of those industries?
I'm going to tell you right now. Well, one of the industries we talked about a couple of weeks ago is anything doing with technology, building robots. Anything in technology, okay? Anything doing with high-tech, like air conditioning. You would think that's low-tech. It's not low-tech anymore. The automotive industry is struggling to get Tommy and I grew up where we can pull our spark plug out and we can fix our cars, couldn't we,
Right.
Tommy?
Yes, we could.
There are computers
We
now.
actually knew where it was.
Yeah, yeah. So the automotive industry, but it requires that you have education in these technical areas. Not only how to run a computer, but how to use a computer to fix a car. So
Right.
the automotive industry is working. The trade industry, believe it or not, having smart people who have technical skills in the trade industry is really a desirable goal right now. People to run software projects and stuff that you know about is very important. What other industries do you think are hiring right now? Teachers, believe it or not, our age group are retiring.
Right.
But the biggest opportunity, Tommy may not believe, but you and I did some research, is every police department in this country needs officers.
Oh, right.
Every
Right.
police department in this country needs officers. And
Yes.
so like the Dallas chief said the other day, if you're protesting or you need a job, come and apply.
We need you.
But the challenge, Aaron and Tommy, is you've got to have a skill set. You've got to have a resume. You've got to be able to do the job, right?
Right.
So, if you, this is where it gets down to choices. If you had a big, bad boo-boo in your life, this may knock you out from getting employed. When you ran HR, if somebody made a huge mistake young in their life, a felony, were they automatically taken out of the running for a job?
In the federal system, if you needed a security clearance, there would be some requirements. I don't know all the requirements but there's a checklist that they would go down, and it wouldn't necessarily say knock you out right away. They would look at it to mitigate it and
Depends on what kind of
and
felony
see,
it
see what
is.
it was, and and determine whether or not that's significant.
Is
enough,
drinking and driving a big no-no, you think, in getting a job with the federal government? Drinking and driving, Tommy. That's where you're drinking alcoholic.
As being with having a DUI. You know what? I don't know all the background things that you would have,
because they keep changing, don't they?
They change, and obviously the cleaner your slate, you want to have some. You don't want to have those kinds.
All right,
of
let
things,
me change
regardless,
subjects
so.
real quick, and then you can do your homework next week and try to come up with
find out. Yeah.
So my frog, who's trying to get employed, Aaron,
Yes.
is smart, but my frog isn't as attractive as you are, or me, or Tom. Okay, he's got some physical characteristics that probably wouldn't work in the workforce. But here's the issue with my frog. He wants to play most of the day. He's willing to put in 6 hours a day, but he doesn't want to work 8, 9, or 10 hours. So it seems to me that this kind of makes sense. If you can get an employee to come in and literally work for 6 hours, really stay focused, be task-oriented, that's the kind of employee I want. I don't care about 8 hours. If you can convince me that you can put in 6 hours and do the job that I need done, I don't care if you can get it done in 5 hours.
Well, technically, there's no science behind the idea of an 8-hour workday, anyways. So that's how I respond to such a an idea. 6 hours versus 8 hours versus 10 hours versus 12 hours. You need 6 to 8 hours for sleep, maybe 5 for some people. But where does this 8-hour workday come from, anyways?
I don't know. That's a great. Well, I need to do my research on that.
So that must be like Fortune 500 CEO saying, okay, so what about changing our 8-hour thing? They work in units and hours.
I think where it came from was that people were working a lot more.
Oh yeah, during the
hours.
Industrial Revolution,
So.
people were working. Kids were working like crazy. So
well, after World War II, our generation came home and built America. We built America, and working long hours was what was expected. And remember, in our generation, and I'm not saying this other than just talk facts, is mommy was in the home. She was raising the family. She
Yes.
was the one that nurtured the family. She was the one that gave the foundational character skills. She's the one that kept the family together. As soon as the female in the mid-'80s started to go to work, look what's happened to family. Look what's happened to divorces. Look what's happened to kids. So and it's a difficult subject to talk about, but the mother was the one that gave character to this country.
Do you remember the TV series The American Dream?
Yeah.
Where it was based on Dick Clark and dancing in Philadelphia. And I can remember watching that pilot with our millennials and others. And they came time, and actually Blue Bloods does this a lot too. You'll see them have family dinner. Mm-hmm. And so when that first happened on American Dream, I can remember hearing some of the employees in there saying, well, why are they doing that? And it was one question I could actually answer and say, that's what we did in the 60s. And
we had dinners of family.
Yeah,
and Daddy went to work, and Daddy was the breadwinner. And then all of a sudden we got marketed. We needed we only had one television set. How many television sets did you have growing up?
Well, I was reminiscent when Eric said black and white.
Oh, yeah. Now, I think in my home we have 6, maybe 7. I've got a television in every room. I got one outside. I mean, all of a sudden we were sold on that we needed things, that we weren't just happy with one car. We had to have 2 cars.
Right.
How many televisions do you have, Aaron, in your house?
We've lost Aaron.
I have 2, but I don't.
You only have 2 television sets?
I don't think I even need 2. I don't get it. I think I just need my iPhone, honestly.
You have 2 televisions? Where are they? One's in you have a family room?
One's in my bedroom, and the other's in the family room.
Your bedroom? Where does your wife's not in your bedroom? You said my bedroom.
I don't know how we correlated where my wife is in the house, how many televisions I have.
He's back to the marriage counseling.
If Terrence is listening, Terrence, I'm telling you, you put more fires out in a marriage than you can doing anything else. The show is called Job Talk 1. We get great comments on Facebook and emails and texts from you. We're going to be on every day, Tom, Aaron, and the coach here pretty soon. Job Talk 1, we're building the website. Going to be a lot of cool stuff. We want the site, we want the show. Actually, we're going to be doing something called the Job Weather Report. We're going to help people do better in their work. We're going to help people get hired, right?
We'll provide more objective information than it sounds like the census is.
Well, do you want to talk about this for a second?
Fine, go ahead. Let's continue. Let's thoroughly go through this and
the thing
give
is,
some final thought to it.
The final thought is that the government, government, banks, insurance companies rely on statistics that aren't real. If they're doing a survey of homeowners based on do you have a job, you don't have a job, where are you working, this and that. I mean, how reliable is a survey? I'm sorry. I think it's a bunch of baloney. I really do, Tom.
We've seen with Brexit. Where they were wrong with their survey data. I mean, we're seeing more and more of that happening. Yeah. So, but I think people become cynical too about some of the information because you can twist the facts to be what you want them to be. I mean,
looking even at a survey, right? It's probably national. So how do we have local information about employment anyways?
Yeah. No, you're nailing it.
It's all bogus.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. Our show brought to you by Pools by Ben, Lisa's Tax Service, Superior Financial Services, Nation's Transaction Services, and I also help sponsor the show too. Coach Ron Tunick, go to CoachRonTunick.com or CoachTunick.com. That's probably easier. If you're looking for a business coach, if you need somebody to come in and I write books. In fact, did you like my book, The Thinking Room?
I loved your book.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really great read and a lot of great
simple stuff,
information. Well, things you can do and act on.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't know how to think, so I go in and teach executives, managers, supervisors how to think because we all get stuck in the process and we never call a timeout. We never say, "Hey, I need an hour to think about this." We're all reactors, and anyway, that's a cheap.
You're stopping time.
I'm trying to stop time.
Yeah.
I mean, the title of my book is The Thinking Room. What's the title of your book, Tommy? You just wrote a great book. I read it cover to cover. It's very good. It's incredible.
All Systems Go, How to Launch a Successful Job Search.
So if you're listening to a show on hometownstation.com and you're in HR, you need this book, correct?
Yes,
absolutely. Or if you're looking for a job.
If you're looking for a job, if you're in transition, or you're looking for that next promotion, other sorts of things. If you're just a mom wanting to get into the work.
All Systems Go.
All Systems Go, How to Launch a Successful Job Search.
Why can't you get a shorter title like
mine? All Systems Go is the lead title.
They can look that up, All Systems Go. We'll be right back on the show we call Job Talk 1. Tom Caron's the coach, and of course, America's #1 authority on job. Very quiet today. Aaron, are you okay, buddy? Very quiet.
I'm fine.
Aaron Moskowitz.
I'm going to roar in just a moment.
We'll be right back. It's our theme right now. You can play it in the background, Cody. You can play a little bit.
My grandmother loves it. She
Stop
loves
it, you little.
Okay.
That's our that's our target audience.
Yeah, it's our tortured millennial. That's Aaron Moskowitz.
She is looking for a job.
Tom Cairns and I. Tom was the HR director for Homeland Security. Wrote a book called what was the title?
All Systems Go.
All Systems Go. My book is The Thinking Room. My book's like $500 a copy. How much is your book? Your book's cheap.
Mine's reasonable. I
Very
practically
reasonable.
give them away.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that reads a book.
So this segment on Job Talk 1, Job Talk 1 is the name of the show. Soon to be daily, soon to be all across the country. We will be the number one show podcast. Also, you can go to hometownstation.com, listen to our show. Also, download the app on KHTS. Great app. Best radio app in the country. I'm not lying. That's a true, absolute statement. Best radio app in the country. You can listen to all the shows on this fabulous station, KHTS AM 1220. So let's go around the room and do the tips. You have a job tip, which Tom and I, during the break, were kind of
I have a big job tip.
big job tip from
figured this
Aaron
out.
Moskowitz.
Works a little bit better for small to mid-sized companies.
Thank you.
But if you go through Indeed or Career Builder or wherever you go to look for job postings, you will notice a bulleted list of questions or statements of the job requirements. Sometimes they are actual questions. You could take 10 jobs that you're considering or you're applying for. You could take all the questions, and I guarantee you're going to find 5 repeated questions. Put those on a Word document, make them bold, and then answer them in regular text. Answer each one of those questions. The problem is that you cannot actually answer these questions by just handing in a resume. They just can't. It's not.
Well,
you're just
my
listing
frog
companies.
listens to the show. What
Right.
what would you say to my frog? What would be the number one question that you hear on these questions, on these 10
Well, it's
questions?
different for each industry.
Oh,
That's
got
why
it.
this is
Okay.
so
Okay.
important, is that recruiters are looking for snackable, scannable information. That's why they only have 5 seconds or so to review a resume.
Snackable and scannable.
Yeah, so what makes it snackable is that you have the headings. So maybe even better, you add a line after the bold question and make it look like a frequently asked questions section of a website.
Here's my snackable tip of the week. That's not a bad snackable tip that you just gave, which was write a cover letter.
Right, but don't make it a letter, a really long. They won't read a whole story.
Write the cover letter, but answer a question in the cover letter that gets the reader to go, that's interesting.
No more than 150 words
Got
for
it.
each answer.
And smaller employer might read that cover letter, where somebody with 100,000 employees is.
They're not even going to read your resume. So
Got it.
What?
Yeah. and we know the secret sauce is computers knock your resume out. So you could be the best candidate in the world, and some stupid pre-programmed computer that guys like you do knock your resume out.
Yes, these, what are they called?
robots.
The robots. Yes, they make all this money from their software licenses to not hire people.
All right, so here's my tip of the week. Work on your soft skills. Work on your ability to communicate in an interview. Great eye contact. Ask questions. Put the interviewer on the button.
That's a good one.
And this makes the employer go, wow, this guy's pretty smart, or this girl's pretty smart. Right. So ask good questions. Tommy, what's your tip of the week?
Mine is, it's summertime, there are no throwaway jobs. There are probably a lot of college students out there or others that are working a summer job thinking this is going nowhere. However, those are jobs that you're gaining some additional skill life, like soft skills or contacts with people. In Coach's book, where you hung out at a golf club and gleaned from some of the members there.
Yep.
I mean, so take advantage of where you are, observe everything, and there are no throwaway jobs.
Great tip. That's
a
Tom
good tip.
Cairns, Aaron Moskowitz, and the coach. We'll see you next week, soon to be daily on Job Talk 1 on a great radio station, KHTS here in Southern California, AM 1220. See you down the road.